I don't even know where to begin. Well, I mean, I do know where I want to begin. I want to begin at the end of the chapter where I just you know get really hyped and really excited. But a lot happened historically, so it is important to read the chapter in the way that it happened. So yeah, let's just begin. Hello, Internet. I am the hero of Julio. So once again, with another One Piece chapter summary. This week's chapter is chapter 1154. Can't even die. So sad. The art this week is Yamato visiting the grave of a famous samurai who was born in the West Blue and raised in Ringo. I believe this is the resting place of Ryuma, or at least it was until Gecko Moria came along and scooped up the body. Not really sure the full story there, but we know that Ryuma is the main character of one of Oda's one-shots, Monsters. Or not Monsters. Was it Monsters? Yes, it was Monsters. So he defeated a dragon. It was really cool. He is the ancestor of Zoro, legendary hero of Wano. You know the blade Shusui. We got it from a flaming samurai with Brook's soul inside of it, or shadow inside of it, and it was kind of a wild ride. Just from getting it to returning it to its home. We got Enma out of the deal, so that was pretty cool. But that's pretty much it. I'm wondering if shenanigans will happen here, or if it's just going to be like pay respects and then keep walking. So now, let's get into the actual chapter, which takes place 63 years ago, where Lin Lin was just wrecking everything. And apparently, that wasn't the only terrible thing to... And I mean, we lost one of the oldest giants ever. And it got worse. Yeah. So, they faced starvation. They faced harsh winters. They faced famine. They faced horrible weather conditions. Like, it was just a bad time all around in Elbaf. And through it all, Queen Estrid kept blaming Loki. Even to the point where Baby Loki would come bashing through the door, which, by the way, Baby Loki is a very, very large baby. I mean, full-grown giants are not shorter than him, but getting pretty close. But again, his own mother won't look at him, and Baby Loki is sent crying away from his mother. Of course, when you are related to someone, it is not fair, but it is not without understanding that people will eventually start coming after you. If your brother did something, you will get a stern talking to at best, and sometimes just flat out blame. And this is true in the world of One Piece too. I mean, look at Ace. He was just born, and because he was Roger's son, that was enough. Well, that's what Haruden has to face, as a giant comes bursting through his home. It tells him that, your brother's curse is the reason why terrible things are happening all over Elbaf, and it is your responsibility to be the sacrifice to the gods and goddesses to make this bet right. And, of course, Ida tries to stop him, and he's just like, you're not even Elbafian, you don't matter here, I'm going to take this boy. And that's when King Haruden returns from his voyage. Now, that man got a stern punch to the skull. If it was my wife, I wouldn't have let that slide. That man would not just get a casual knocking out. But Harold is the king of Elbaf. He's got to, be a good guy on top of this. Plus, he comes with good news. So he knocks out this guy and he's like, don't do that. We're all Elbaf here. We're going to, round everybody up. We're going to get everybody food. We're going to get everybody water, because the humans that Harold has been spending his time making friends with have come. They've got food. They've got drinks. They've got indomitable human spirit, because humans are just crazy like that. Their ships are filled to the brim, and they are ready to save Elbaf. And so Elbaf was literally saved by the power of friendship. So, a little before he had returned, Harold's wife, Estrid, did in fact pass away. Last chapter, I do want to clarify, I thought she had passed away. I think I left a correction in the video itself, but she did not. She just fell ill, but she did eventually die. And of course, as always, this was blamed on the Loki curse, because just being born apparently cursed an entire nation. Give me the logic on that one. But Harold does return. He does mourn the loss of his wife, and he holds up baby Loki, and he's like, "Okay, my son, how you doing?" And baby Loki just kind of... And Harold's like, "I'm not really shocked. You lost your mom. Like, that's... I mean, how can a baby smile after that? Also, what's with the bandages?" And they say, "Oh, Lord, my lord, King Harold, he has eye condition, pink eye. Yeah, his eyes are just real bad, sir. He can still see out of them, but you just don't want to see that." And he goes, "Oh, well, okay. I hope you get better, son. I'm gonna leave Estrid's brother in charge of you as kind of your steward until I get back." And he does keep referring to Loki as the guy that killed my sister, so again, not a great upbringing for Loki, but Harold doesn't really know this, so he's busy trying to unite the world. Speaking of doing things to help unite the world, Ida actually lives down in the underworld of Elbaf now, not just somewhere nearby. Fortunately, there's like a break in the island where Ocean protects her little bar from the actual beasts of the underworld, but she opens this bar in hopes of helping shipwrecked humans, giants down on their luck, travelers who are just passing through, as long as it can in some way be of help to Harold. So Ida's bar welcomes everyone. She is just a peach. She is probably one of my favorite giants. I really like her. So we cut away from 63 years ago to 56 years ago. Yes, 56 years ago, where Harold apparently is talking to Jarl and telling him that he managed to sneak into the Reverie this year with the help of another king. We don't know who that king is. It could be anyone. I would assume probably a king of Dressrosa, maybe, because they are also New World kingdoms. I don't really know how peaceful Riku's father was, because age-wise, I would say Riku is probably a child or teenager at this point. I'd have to look up his age. So this would be King Riku II. In charge of Dressrosa. But regardless, while he was there, he almost got captured, because obviously, even though he is a king, he's not allowed in the Reverie because Elbaf is not a member of the world government. So he came along as a bodyguard to this other king, and had he got caught, he probably would have been, locked up. Jarl goes to tell him, hey, locked up is probably the least of your problems, because, well, things have happened since you are gone, my king. Turns out, there was a legendary group of giant shipwrights known as the Galila Band. Not the Galila Company, the Galila Band. They were a band of giants, 100 strong, very powerful, very good shipwrights. Allegedly didn't even exist. They were kind of like a rumored amazing group. They sent a letter to Elbaf. They got captured. But it seems that Harold's problems aren't just from humans not trusting giants. It seems something in the past might be causing some enmity here. Harold even asks, what would really make you think that? And Jarl goes, well, I know some time ago we had an ancient enemy. We had a problem in the past. Someone didn't like us, but all that information's at the bottom of the ocean, which confirms Vegapunk's theory, even though we kind of already trust Vegapunk's theory. But yeah, so something happened in the ancient times where giants lost their history, which now kind of helps explain, because let me tell you one thing. I'll go on a little tangent for a second. One thing that does confuse me, or did confuse me, about the Void Century is that giants live 300 years. If we condense that down to, giants live roughly 100 years of a human equivalent, and you told me something happened 800 years ago, which in the human equivalent would be probably about 200 years ago, give or take, my great-grandfather would have lived through those events. Maybe my grandfather too, but even if he didn't, his father would have told him about it. It's not something that just gets from your memory instantly. Unless the pawpaw fruit is involved. Or the memo fruit. Well, anyways, something happened to make the giants lose that history, even though it was only like 2, maybe 3 generations ago. Well, sorry, 3, maybe 4. And I guess the info being sunk to the bottom of the sea, I'm waiting for the Joy Boy flashback for the truth behind this one. Sorry about the little tangent. Let's get back to the... I know it feels like I'm just footnoting this, but it feels like Oda's footnoting this too. He is just letting us know, beat after beat after beat, all these things that have surrounded the giants and explanations to why the giants weren't a part of a lot of things. Harold being held off by the world government, ancient anonymity, lost history at the bottom of the sea. Whatever the reasons, there's a reason we don't see giants very often. So, 48 years ago, we're getting there. We're almost at the main timeline. Loki has been living down in the underworld. Let's see if it's from 56. Well, let's see. 63 years ago, Loki was roughly when Loki was born. So Loki would be, I want to say, 63 minus 40. So Loki's about 15. I want to round it and say maybe like 18 years old. So this is the equivalent of a human 6. So Loki is a small child. He decides to cause havoc, though. He takes all the beasts of the underworld, who, mind you, he told Luffy were his friends, and they just start destroying cities. They're attacking places. And who else comes along to try and stop him? The Prince of the Giants himself, Haruden. Well, the half-prince. Not everyone's on board with the idea. Anyways, Haruden gets ready to fight off Loki, and Loki just kind of one-shots him. And he's just like, you're barely even worth calling my brother. How are you my older brother? And on top of that, this is an insult to me more than you. Whatever. And as he's doing that, a couple giants in the distance are calling out to Haruden. They're saying, no, Haruden, you're hurt. Wait, let us help you. And it's little Gerd. And you see Rode and, not Stanson, Goldberg behind her, and Goldberg's like, no, don't talk, Loki's gonna think we're his friends. And Gerd smacks him on the head and says, that's because we are his friends, let's go help him. And they go, and they're all starting to patch up his wounds, and Loki's just like, well, look at you, little babies with baby friends, stupid needing friends to help you. Imagine needing friendship. And Loki goes off on his own. So Loki gets back to his little resting area down in the underworld, and he starts crying to himself. And, I should also mention, somebody tells him he shouldn't attack the prince, and Loki's like, don't call him the prince, I'm the prince. Remember that. He's just a half baby. I'm the prince. And so Loki really is putting on a show of hating Harden. But when Loki gets back to his little home, he finds a nice calm spot to lay down. And Loki just starts crying. He's like, what is wrong with me? I can't even die. He's just so sad. And the last couple panels, I'm not saying they throw Loki's story out of the picture, but this flashback's getting hijacked. So, he hears a couple voices talking. And one voice says, oh, hey, I guess this is the island. And another one says, are you sure? I mean, yeah, everything here is big, but we haven't seen anyone yet. And that's when a third voice goes, well, what about that one over there? That's a giant child, right? And that person is revealed to be Newgate. Edward Newgate. And he's standing, mind you, this is 48 years ago. So Newgate is probably in his early 30s. Yeah, he's probably in his 30s at this time. And he says, well, even by giant standards, this is a huge child. We might just be on some like demon island or something. And the other voice tells him, hang on, let me just make sure I get this quote right. And the voice says, okay, little brat, I'm going to ask you 2 questions, and you better say yes to them, because that's the answer I want. Question 1. Is this Elbaf? Question 2. Where's King Harold? So, King Harold, he was able to get away from the Reverie because there was a murder. A horrible murder happened at the Reverie. Big front page news kind of things, and it was big news before Big News Morgans was here to report on it. Guess who died? Well, we don't know him or her because this person existed, 50-something years ago. But it was a Navy admiral. A Navy admiral was murdered by this individual that is walking up to Loki as we speak. And this individual is Rox D. Zebek. We finally get to see his face. We finally get to see his hair, which is just shades of black and white, which is kind of interesting. I wonder if he's like a guy that views the world as black and white. But anyways, he got a nutty look in his eye. I really like him. This is a man who is going to try and rule and destroy the world. And he looks at Loki with this wild look in his eyes, asking these questions. And Oda gives us the usual title card to reveal an amazing new character. Rox D. Zebek, future captain of the Rox Pirates and father of Marshall D. Teach. So, for those of you who had it on your bingo card, because of course we had many theories going around, there was, obviously some evidence helping this. We had, the ship Blackbeard had was the Saber of Zebek. Blackbeard was really big on destroying the world, or at least destroying things in general with his Darkness Fruit and his earthquake powers, and we knew Rox D. Zebek was a terrible dude, and if Roger's will is inherited by Luffy and Kobe is inheriting Garp's will, someone has to be inheriting Rox D. Zebek's will, right? Turns out it's actually a family business is rocking up the world. So, a big question on my mind is, what does that mean for Teach? And I don't mean that as in, what does that mean for Marshall D. Teach? What does that mean for the name Marshall? Shouldn't his name be Rox D. Teach? Or is there more to this? Regardless, though, Rox D. Zebek finally revealed. We love a good face reveal. He's probably up there on one of the characters that has been closest to his silhouette. Personally, I think what happens is Oda comes up with the general idea for a character, makes a silhouette for it, and then rolls with it until he gets the character out there. I mean, look at Loki's silhouette, and then look at Loki. I think the further apart a character is from their silhouette to their reveal, the more drastically different they look. And Zebek wasn't that far ago. I know it's actually, hundreds of chapters ago since we heard about him, but Oda's been giving us his silhouette more and more. We got it during Kuma's flashback, we got it when Kaido questioned Luffy's ceiling, so it's not completely out of the question that he was pretty close. I'm interested to see what else we have in store, but sorry Loki, it is no longer your flashback. We are getting God Valley 2.0. Hopefully we follow the exploits of Loki as he grows up in Elbaf, as well as reading the newspaper to learn more about Rox as he travels, because we know that Rox left, Rox left Loki behind. So that's going to be interesting. But that's pretty much all I got. So let me know in the comments below, were you right about Rox D. Zebek, or did you subscribe to one of the different theories about his connection to Blackbeard? Or did you think they weren't connected at all, and you just kind of were very shocked, and this has been a huge reveal for everyone? Me, personally, I'm going to go watch some videos about everybody else's thoughts on this, because we haven't had a good old-fashioned silhouette reveal in a while. Thank you for watching as always, and I will see you in the next video. This is the Hero of Julios, Xing out.